I didn't know I could go build $1 million business, let alone $1 billion business.
How much time it takes in your 20s?
Motherhood was like, it was so hard.
That's the key, because a lot of people, they're focused on logos and websites, and they don't even have people paying them.
Exactly. If you want to have success in anything that you do, you are the company you keep.
Have you raised money at that point?
No.
I feel like entrepreneurs can never do that. They just get the itch.
No.
Right.
And my employees and our team, and so I had no time for taking care of my health. I had no time to I didn't get to know like who I was. Like I pretty much grew up in the business. The number one thing that I see is they're not focused. Like we're trying to do everything. We're so distracted by shiny objects, and we call them squirrels. I'm definitely an energy person.
Okay.
So I very quickly, my name is Suneera, which means sunshine.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Grant Mitt Podcast, episode number 119. I have Suneera Madhani on the podcast. She is a tech founder and an entrepreneur. She's also sold a company and exited for over $1 billion with a B. And now she's getting into a multitude of different ventures and started something called CEO School, which is a podcast and was it community as well?
Yeah, it is.
Awesome for female entrepreneurs, which is incredible. So I'm excited to have you on. Welcome to Austin.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
It's been such a fun conversation already.
Yeah, we probably should have recorded it, but it's okay. So what are you most excited about? So you sold the company and you said one of the biggest things that's changed for you is that the whole beginning, like all of your 20s basically was just you working on your business. Mm-hmm. How does it feel to be out of that now? And now you're starting another journey, obviously. You got the itch again. What was the journey like? Was it worth it? And what are you looking forward to now as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so you're totally right. It was such a big journey. I think, when people hear, my story, it's like, yes, we exited for, north of $1 billion, which we did, we're so proud of. It was a 10-year-long journey, though. Mm-hmm. So success doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
I started that business. It was called Stax Payments, which is in tech. And I think we can spend an entire episode talking about how we came, like how the idea came about to scale. But, it was an idea that I had in my early 20s. Okay. I pitched it to my companies. I was working in corporate. No one would take me seriously. Right. And for many different reasons, right? I was just young and without any experience as well. Uh-huh. And so I quit my job and I had nothing to lose and I started this business. And
how old were you in that?
I was 26 when I started the company.
Okay.
So I was 26 when I started the company and I'm 38 now. So it's been 12 years since that first journey. Okay. So I started it at the age of 26 and I literally moved back into my parents' house to start this business. Yeah. I didn't know I could go build $1 million business, let alone $1 billion business. Uh-huh. Like I was like, we're just going to go for it. We're going to see what happens. And, putting one foot in front of the other, I would say something that I come from a background of immigrant parents. Mm-hmm. We've been working our entire life. So when I keep saying the word we, my brother and I work together. Okay. We just have had such an incredible family value, life experience. Dinner is always at the table. There's a great abundance mindset in our family. Everything is always more than enough. Everyone's always welcome. And, my parents' journey, they struggled a lot, to bring us opportunities. And so they were entrepreneurs out of necessity. So neither one of my parents went to college or went to even high school. And so for them, their American dream was for us to be educated. So for us to go to a really great school and then we could be anything we wanted, right? And so that was truly what our home environment was around. And because we had all of these family businesses, I grew up in Dallas, and so we had convenience stores and pizza restaurants and franchises, all of these different kinds of food and retail, physical retail businesses. Okay. After school, we'd get picked up and we'd go to the store.
So that's all you saw?
So that's all I saw. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't we were always helping out, we're always doing something. And I feel like we received our MBA without even knowing it. Oh yeah. My dad taught me how to do payroll at the age of 14.
That's great.
And this is before technology, right?
Before QuickBooks.
So before all this stuff, right? And so, I just feel so grateful for kind of our upbringing. And I will say, before I start anything, I always want to give that to my parents because we wouldn't be where we are today without that. And so that's a little bit about our background. But when I had the idea for our first business, Stax, it was actually called Fat Merchant at the time. It tells you I'm like 25 years old. It was
Wait,
in
you
payments.
said
Fat Merchant, FATT. Okay. It was literally, you could look it up. It's called Fat Merchant. And it was wildly successful. And we rebranded about 7 years into the business.
Hey guys, if you're an entrepreneur, business person, or you just want to grow as an individual, I just started a private business community that has over 200 different entrepreneurs from a multitude of different industries. We have weekly live calls with Q&As. We have over 20 different master classes that break down sales, marketing, finance, operations, branding, social media, you name it, as well as guest speakers and the ability to network and grow your career. If you want to have a massive, massive year, this is every single little thing that I've learned over building an 8-figure business, building a massive following on social media, and working with entrepreneurs all over the world. If you guys would like to join, I want to give it to you for free for 7 days just for listening to this podcast. Click the link below and get set up. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
But I wouldn't have done it. Like I literally came home so exhausted from like, a work trip, and I was like really excited about this idea to launch the first subscription-based like payment processor.
Okay.
And if it wasn't for that family dinner, like around the table, they're like, my dad's just like, well, why don't you go start the company?
I like how he was like, why don't you just do it?
Yeah, why don't you just go do it? And I'm like, where do I go find Mr. Visa?
Yeah.
Like, how do I go start a payments company? How do I go start a software company?
I'm only 25, 26.
Yeah, but I have no experience in like building software. Like, it's not like it's like you know how to like open up a store or like create like an e-commerce business. Mm-hmm. But there's that mindset of like, just go for it. Just go for it.
Why not?
And I did. And that was the beginning of it. And it was such an incredible journey. I had no I didn't know how to raise venture capital. I didn't even know what venture capital was, if I was going to need venture capital. But I just started going out, and the thing that I knew how to do was to sell. So that's something that you and I were chatting about. And so I knew how to, talk to people, and I knew how to, I was excited about this product that I was building, and I wanted to build alongside my customers. And so that is how the journey began, from the first 100 customers. And I would literally drive around. I had a Volkswagen Beetle. And at the time, there was physical payment terminals. I would literally carry physical payment terminals.
So y'all had those?
Yeah. So that was in the beginning of it was a big evolution in our software journey. Okay. But I was that girl literally driving around, and all I had to do, I'd show up to a plaza, and I'm like, I just need to get one yes. And so just
Did you remember your first one?
Oh yeah. And we're literally, my first customer was my dad. So that was that was easy. Yeah. From his convenience store.
So what was the second one?
His best friend. But my first real customer, there was a few. I actually recently, and I'm still in touch with so many of them, and I'm so grateful for the first believers in you. It's not that dollar, it's the confidence. Yeah. Right? It's that confidence.
Get some momentum.
Get so many no's all the time as an entrepreneur. So many no's. You're just rejected.
More than most people get in 10 years.
Right. And you have to be comfortable. You really do have to get comfortable with rejection. You have to get comfortable with rejection. You have to be comfortable with it. And a no is not a no. It's just a no, not right now. Right?
Exactly.
And so when you do get that yes, it is such a win. It's such a win, and it's such a boost of confidence to let you get through that next 100 rejections. But it was an incredible journey. So started truly in that, in that way. And then we started building after 100 customers, and then, we had a really unique model. And so we were just this really disruptive, and I needed to go build the software side of it. And so found the resources. I applied to a tech accelerator.
And how many months is this, or years?
It was about 6 months. So 6 months of kind of grinding on my own.
And you started getting your first couple deals about 6 months in? Mm-hmm. Okay, got you. And so then you're like, I got to figure out the tech side.
I got to go figure out the tech side, and we need to go find a co-founder. And so went through that journey and just built this incredible team. And I think that's something that I'm really it's a superpower.
Have you raised money at that point?
No, we hadn't raised money at that point. We raised money after joining the tech accelerator. So that was kind of my first into what is how to scale in tech. Is
that in Orlando?
Yeah, it was an Orlando Tech Accelerator, which Orlando wasn't a big tech home in 2013, right?
Right.
But we made it happen. Like it just was a journey, and building the team was a huge part of it. And bringing people from different experiences and perspectives and convincing people of like your vision and what we're trying to build here. And from there, like our first seed round was, oversubscribed, which was really incredible. And there was so much rejection along the way. So it's so easy to like on a podcast to like wrap it up in like 10 minutes to be like, here's this journey and you can just go do this. It is a roller coaster, right? Like every day you're waking up and you're like getting like some good news and then you're getting really shitty news,
really
right?
bad
and you're
news, yeah.
all day long. Like that is like, it's constant. And
what was it like managing your emotions that first like year compared to when you were working in corporate? Or did you handle it well? Because I know you saw a lot of your dad.
Yeah, no, it was, I was so young. And so I honestly, I don't know how I would have done. Like, I don't know if I would have taken the risk where I'm at in my life right now. Like I've got 2 daughters, like 8 and 6. I'm in like, in a different phase in my life. Like I'm not risking it all. Like I was 25 years old. Like no responsibility, right? And
you were just fearless, trying to make it happen.
Just make it happen. And so I think my mindset was different. And I encourage, like, especially if you're young, like this is your time to like really go for it.
Agreed.
Because you can make up for that lost time, right? You can make up for that lost time. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to have to go get a job, which you're going to figure out anyway.
Exactly.
So you don't have much to lose.
Yeah.
And so I think with that, it also, like, you can swing bigger. And you could, I do believe that there was this magic of just being young and not having much to lose because there wasn't much there. So even if I blew it up, like, it's fine. I'll go get a job. Like,
you could start over 100 times. No one would even care.
No one would even know.
Yeah.
And luckily that's not what happened. A lot of hardships along the way, but Sal ended up joining me that year. So he moved from California. It's my brother. And we were like, there was a lot of traction, and Fast Company picked up this article, and it was titled "Meet the Woman Trying to Change the Credit Card Industry." It sounds like an amazing title. It was an amazing title.
You got it framed somewhere?
I actually, no, not anymore. You got
bigger.
No. It's a good one. That's the first. I need to frame that one. Yeah, that's a good one. But that article, really, it was kind of our Shark Tank moment.
Okay.
So we were in like this startup incubator. We had one phone. My office was literally the size of this rug right here. We had like one employee, one intern, and our phone was like literally our website crashed. Our like phones wouldn't stop ringing. We had to install phones. All the startups like in our co-working space were all like supporting. We had no CRMs. So, like we were not built for scale. And so that's when it was like the best and the worst thing that ever happened to us. We're like, holy shit. Okay, we have something here. And now it's for us to we have this. Customers want this. Investors started calling in. And we're like, we can either grab this and really go all in and scale it and go build it with infrastructure, or we're going to blow this up. Like, what's our option?
And this is how a year in?
This is a year in. So this is exactly about 1 year into it. And that was it. We never looked back. We said our thematic goal for 2015. So it was 2014 was that article, November. And then 2015, we hired a bunch of people. Our thematic goal was 10x scalability. We went all in on just full on scale and never looked back. I mean, over that course of 10 years, that first year we did 5 million in payments on our platform.
That's good. Yeah.
In 5 years we did 5 billion.
Amazing.
In 10 years we did 40 billion.
Yeah. That's
and
amazing.
So it was just a full on rocket ship, textbook perfect, scaled the company from 0 to 400 employees. We did acquisitions along the way. We raised capital, Series A, Series B,
y'all must have had a really
C.
good team.
We had an incredible team.
Yeah.
We had a rock star team.
So let me ask you this. What was, when you joined the tech incubator, was that what kind of helped you raise money early on and teach you how? Or did you kind of just go out there, you and your brother, and y'all figured it out as you went?
Yeah, I think we were figuring it out. But I think that I think one of the things that if you want to learn, you have to get out of the computer screen and into rooms.
You got to go do it, yeah.
You got to get into rooms. So once you're in the room, you're like, oh, this is how it works. And
can't do this.
Or even what is how to do a pitch deck, how to land investors, whatever. So we did have, that was our first exposure to it, but no one handed me capital. No one's like, you're in this Excel. It wasn't Y Combinator or Techstars, right? It wasn't that. I just convinced everybody that was working on their ideas to stop working on their ideas and to come start working on my idea.
You're great at sales. I love it.
Right. And we had the most scalable vision, and we had customers, we had traction.
That's the key, because a lot of people, they're focused on logos and websites, and they don't even have people paying them.
Exactly. And you got to go build with your customers. And so that's what we did. And I'm so grateful for my co-founders. And so Jacques and Sal, like we're just like this awesome trio.
Yeah.
And we divide and conquer. And so we built the team up, and your team is everything. Like it is truly like, if you want to have success in anything that you do, you are the company you keep.
Yes.
Literally, you are the company you keep. Right. So who is in your company? Yeah. And they are a full reflection of, there's no room. If you want to build something solid, there's no room for B players. Like you're either an A player and you're on this rocket ship, or you're not. And you've got to cut them fast, and you're not going to be liked by all. No. But there is it's a
superpower.
It's a superpower, but it is also the DNA that it takes for success. And you have to have people around you and on a team that also that have that same hunger, that have that same drive. So even if you are the entrepreneur and the owner, you're like, you have to find ways to incentivize this team for success too, because it's not just what's in it for you, it's what's in it for them. And when you can build that, every successful, anybody that you're gonna look at, a successful company, it might be the founder that you're going to see, but it's not. It's like that team around them, and they are just as motivated as the founder to do it.
Absolutely. So does your brother and then your other co-founder, do they kind of make up, or are they better at certain things that you're not better at? Are they better at certain different things?
For sure.
What's the dynamic like?
We are all complete opposites. Like we're all the same in terms of our values.
Okay, that's good.
That's a huge piece that is so important. Like we're the same human inside. We are like, well, quite literally, me and my brother have the same DNA. Right. And so the value system that he grew up with is the value system. That was easy. But even with Jacques and in our first, like even our 10 employees, like it is so important to fundamentally find people that have the same value alignment, right? So we are, family first. Like that is like, it is what it is. Like that's important. I actually have a tattoo. It says one team on my arm. Like we are one team. Like that's a value system of ours.
That you'll stick to. I love that.
Yeah, one team. Like it's one team. It's always team above self. So there's just like these core fundamental beliefs and principles that we just all live by
and are. Speed.
And speed is that is how we operate. We are executors.
I love that.
Like truly, like there's no such thing as a $1 billion idea. It's just $1 billion execution. You can literally it's not what's most novel or your newest idea or the most innovative or the most whatever. You could literally sell anything, something that's already been done, but if you can execute on it and you're outpacing your competition, you do it with speed, you do it with passion, you do it with building the right team. Like if you could just show up and execute, there's no reason why even selling something that's like already in existence can't be the next $1 billion thing.
True, absolutely.
And so it's super important. So we're executors, we're fast, and that's just our DNA. And so it's a big part of it, but we're different in our skill sets. And that's also important for you to not overlap with each other, right? So as entrepreneurs, we want to kind of hoard everything. We want to do everything. We're like, it's so tough for us to delegate. We're such perfectionists, like nothing's good enough. You can't have speed with that. You can't. You're going to be like, it's going to be slow. And so your team has to help you go fast. You've got to trust. You've got to divide and conquer. And so one of my co-founders, he was like the architect and he's the CTO, and Sal's, sales and operations. I'm on, marketing and go to market. And so it was just this, that's how we do it. Perfect. And you have to find what you're good at and what you're not. And you're not supposed to be good at everything. It's great that you know a little bit of everything, but you got to pick your lane and then surround yourself with people that can just help you go faster.
I love that.
Yeah.
So so you had the 10-year journey. Which was amazing. You all had a ton of success. Obviously, now you're getting into new stuff and you're starting a new company, or you started a new company, right?
Yeah, I already started the new company. So, and you mentioned CEO School. So I started that podcast. It's been 5 years of the podcast. So it's not a new podcast. In 2020, after, during COVID, I launched CEO School. I never went to CEO School. So it almost started as I love
the name. The name's great.
Because I didn't go to CEO school. I got a bachelor's from University of Florida in finance and marketing. Okay. And every day I showed up for a job that was harder than the one I had yesterday. And I was determined that I was going to be the one to see this thing through exit. I had every single person trying to take me out of my seat all the time, especially as a young woman, especially as a woman of color. And just of course, even with the scale that the company was having, you know, operationally, I can understand why investors would be like, we need to bring in more talent. We need to bring, and I built the executive team. We built the infrastructure around us, but I was willing, I'm a learner. And so,
did they ever want to, like, so you're saying they wanted to put another CEO at certain points?
Yes, all the time.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, just there was, and I think that there was a lot of something. I was so proud of the things that I knew about my customers and my company. I think founders play this really, really important role.
Yeah, it brings a spark that somebody else can't.
And your gut, and it is so important. And I'm smart. I'm smart as hell.
Yeah.
And so I knew I was not letting go of my job. Like, I'm going to take this thing all the way through exit.
Let's go.
I stayed around and I was like, what's the first milestone? It was 100 million. The next milestone, you know, was 250 million. The next milestone was $1 billion. And I was like, that was it. So I set the eye on the prize and like never looked back. And it was so much fun, so hard. And I'm so proud that we literally were the founding team that started it and finished it.
That's
and
what's
exited
amazing.
it. Yeah. And so post when we were done, God, there's so much to share. But I felt really lonely. There were so many parts of my journey. I had male co-founders. I had all male investors. I'm in fintech. It's a bros world. And
it is a bros world.
It is such a bros world, and we need all you guys. And I work with like my whole my company, but it was so important. There was a different perspective that I was bringing to the table, and I wasn't able to like find my people. I wasn't able to like find my space.
Yeah, what was that like? Because I have some good friends. Like one of my friends, Nish, she lives in New York, and for the first time ever, she left Houston, went to New York, and got this big corporate job. And then she was like struggling at the beginning and became #1 sales rep, youngest, and New York's full of sharks. And plus there's a lot of female listeners and guys too. How do you find the right people when you're this like oddball, crazy entrepreneur, especially how much time it takes in your 20s?
I mean, you're lonely.
Was it just a lonely season for you?
Super lonely. Like my entire, like I have my core friends.
Right.
But even your core friends who aren't entrepreneurs don't understand what it takes to like, it's just a different, like, and I still have all my core friendships, but business, like it's hard to, I want to talk shop with my friends too. Like I want to be able to talk. So I was just sitting, all the circles that I worked were all male circles. And I learned a lot. And I was like, I you know, one of the things that I look back in my journey and I tell, you know, I say this on my podcast, like I was a man in a skirt. And I also learned my behavior changed. I was almost like trying to constantly fit in, and it's natural. Like it's natural to want to have a seat at the table.
Right.
And even with my like venture partners and, you know, every portfolio summit, like everyone's on the golf course. Like I'm a big, like I go to every sporting event. I'm at every golf tournament, but that's just because this is like my business nature.
Sure.
But I'm also, you know, a woman and I became a mother. Like my first, like during, through my journey, you know, fat merchant, I was 26. I wanted to have a family by the time I was 30. I was, we had, you know, my husband and I had just gotten married and I had my daughter Mila at the age of 30 and motherhood was like, it was so hard to do both. And I did not see successful examples of women also succeeding in, not just succeeding where I wanted to, like succeeding.
Yeah. And,
you know, in this really cutthroat environment and being able to, you know, have a family. And that was so important to me. And, you know, I was like, I don't care how it's done. Like, this is my value system. I said, family is so important.
Sure.
And I had Anna and it was really hard. And it still is hard to do it all. However, that was the choice. Like I do believe that women deserve to have it all, and we can have a family, and we can be badass in business, and we can be successful. And I want my daughters to be able to have every opportunity that they want to have, and do the things that they love, and have a family if they choose to do so. And so that was an important pillar for me. And I just wanted to find other successful women that also have families, and how are they? It's different. How are they balancing their time? How are they doing work-life integration? And so that was really the start of how CEO School Podcast formed. I was sharing my journey online, and I had an audience like on Instagram.
Yeah, sure.
And I was showing up on these wind down Wednesdays to just like meet other female entrepreneurs and just to like hang out. Like this is when the first like live features were there. And it was almost like these like rooms, like these live rooms that you can go to. And we would just talk shop. And I'm like, there are my people out there. Like there's so many women out there. Yeah, like I'm not all alone. Like where are you? And so we pulled and during the pandemic, actually, when like the heart of COVID, when like kind of just, we were in lockdown and we didn't know what was happening. I had to make really big, I had a team of about 180 at that time, full big offices, like 20,000 square foot office in Orlando. Like, what are we doing right now? How are we handling stuff? What's business going to be like? And that wind down Wednesday, I had like, maybe our like average was like maybe 50 people would show up for a live. I had almost 500 like women at that live. They were like, not just home. They were like, what do we do?
Right.
Who do we ask? And that was like a huge gap where I was like, well, I'm having these conversations with my portfolio company CEOs and founders on the venture side. But a lot of these women, if they're not venture backed and they're incredible businesses, where are they going to find that community?
There wasn't that much information. Like all this stuff is still new, like on anything.
It's only been 5 years, since that. And so that's really how the community formed for CEO School. We took that in the first episode. Actually, it's going to be 5 years this March right now. So we're recording. So it's going to be 5 years. So check out that show. So if you are a female entrepreneur and you're looking for your people, we're your people.
There you go.
And that March, there was an article in Forbes that had come out that said less than 2% of female founders ever break $1 million in revenue.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. And
females, and the thing about women is y'all have a special intuition. I always say like my mom is like moms. I don't know if it's yours like this. She could say, Grant, there's something about that person you should watch out. And I'll go, no. And it may take 3 years. Yeah. She always ends up being right.
She is. Yeah. It is. We are wired that way.
Very intuitive.
We are very intuitive. And when you pair it into like, we call it fact plus gut, me and Sal. So he's fact and I'm gut. And we've taught each other like how to really balance both.
He's very practical.
Yeah, no, and now we've really learned how, like
intertwined.
Learned how to both use our fact plus. Even men, you have it too.
Sure.
So you do have that intuition. Okay. And when you're around really awesome women, they'll bring it out of you too, but it is true. And so the podcast formed in 2020. So that was part of like my journey through exit. And so that's still going strong. And I love, that's like my passion to support female entrepreneurs. I exited the business in 2020, sold it to private equity that end of that year, and then stayed on to go get to go scale to $1 billion. And we did that. Sold again in 2021, stayed on for, until my leave was over. So 2022. Nice. And thought I was gonna retire finally or have some time back and go get to know myself.
I feel like entrepreneurs can never do that. They just get the itch.
No, I'm so mad at myself already. Like, why are we doing this again? It's so fun, but I really thought, so one of the things that we were talking about earlier is like, I was lonely. I had no idea, like all I did was work and then balance a family and that was it. Like, that's it. And building a business and having 2 young kids, it was my entire life. Right. And my employees and our team. And so I had no time for taking care of my health. I had no time to I didn't get to know like who I was. Like I pretty much grew up in the business. And so after the exit, like I was just like, what do I do? Who am I?
What's my identity? Like, what do I even?
No, it was a full-on identity crisis because your work like becomes your worth.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like your titles become that. And when you separate from that, you're like, holy shit, who am I? And then it's like what every entrepreneur, like you go on like a sabbatical to Europe for like 8 weeks. And like, so I did all of this stuff to like go find myself. I did like every spirit journey ever. I read, I went through a spirit era. I went through a fitness era. I went through like all of these different chapters. And, I'm all of that, I just didn't have time to get to know who I was and my identity outside of being a CEO and a mom. And I love those identities too. And so that was kind of like an interesting phase in my life. And then I get bored and we get bored and Sal couldn't golf anymore. And, he's like, he traveled everywhere and he's just like itching for we got to get back. And the end of that summer, it literally was not even 6 months. And then we're back to whiteboarding again. And then we were like, what is the biggest problem that we had in our industry? And one of it was we onboarded so many customers. We onboarded 40,000 customers like onto our platform. But it was a very manual process to understand who the business is on the other side, because there's no credit worth of a business. And so we're like, there's no business credit score at all. Let's go build a business credit score. And so that was it. And then we called Equifax and partnered with Equifax. And now we've had, we self-funded and called our investors again, and everyone's like, here's dollars and let's go. And so second time around, it's been a really different journey.
So what did you learn from if you could save the listeners 10 years, if you could tell your former self, your 26-year-old self, and everybody listening, how do you save 10 years of your mistakes?
Oh my goodness. You're not gonna like my answer. You're just gonna have to go through it. Okay, hard work is the shortcut. There is absolutely no way to skip 10 years of experience. You just have to go through it. There are going to be certain things that you can look back at to say, oh, I wish I would have done that different, or I wish I'd have taken that course. But it just takes time. Like, you just have to let the cake bake, right? Like, you can't, no matter how many chefs you have in the kitchen, no matter how many tools you look with, no matter what, you stick it in the oven, and it's just going to take time. And it's going to take the time that it needs. So to build something meaningful and to have it, to be there, it's just going to take time. Now, places where I can save you time probably are trust your gut, right? Fire fast, build the right team. Those things will help you accelerate faster. Other things that I will say that I see entrepreneurs, and I talk to entrepreneurs all day long. The number one thing that I see is they're not focused. Like, we're trying to do everything. We're so distracted by shiny objects, and we call them squirrels. Like, you're just like, here's a squirrel, here's a squirrel. Right. And you have to be laser focused on who you're serving. So if you know your customer and you're building that product for them, just go focus on serving that customer and don't get distracted by shiny objects. So there's a ton that's gonna come at you, and there's a million ways to pivot, but just try to stay as focused as possible. That will save you a ton of time. And the last thing I will say that will probably save you some time in that 10 years, it's still gonna take time, but in that journey is, you have to be willing to press the button. It's not gonna be perfect. The email's not gonna be half-ass written. The website's gonna be 80% of the way there, or you have to just keep going. Every day is a series of needle movers, is what I like to call them. And you have to stay focused on the needle movers. Busy is not a badge. And so stop being busy, be productive, focus on what needs to get done, and just get that shit done. Just the needle movers.
Just get it going.
Just get it going.
Yeah.
And that's it. But you still have to do that every single day for a really long time.
Always. Yeah. So lastly, are you a manifester? Are you a vision board person? Are you just do you have any spiritual type thing that has helped you?
Oh, I love that we're talking about this. I do it all. I will say that I'm definitely an energy person.
Okay.
So I very quickly, my name is Suneera, which means sunshine. And
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so it literally translates to rays of sun.
Beautiful.
Suneera, raw of sun. So, and I really do feel like I am just attracted. I'm attracted to. I do believe I'm a super attractor. So I do feel like people are attracted. I have great energy, and I can but I want also people that kind of give me energy back too.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's I think all decisions I make are people-based decisions. So it's I will look at the facts, but it's who's the person behind it? Even when I picked my investors, even when I pick my partners, even when I fire customers, I'm I just don't like that. The person's just not the right person.
Right.
And I'm willing to make really big decisions just based on.
You don't live in fear at all, which I love.
Really? I feel like I'm in fear.
And you speak in affirmation and certainty.
Really? I don't think I've noticed that about myself. But thank you.
You do.
Thank you. I trust my instinct. And so energy is really big for me. And I do believe in just having the right mindset. I will say there's been many moments, and especially as a woman, guys, y'all don't even have to I don't know, maybe some guys do, but I feel y'all don't overthink anything. It's just you just get up and go. Simple. So simple. Oh my God, our brains as women are so complex. We're overthinking everything. It really is. And I feel that I have to just let the overthinking stop. And I think because I'm around, I was around really strong men, that also allowed me to just keep going. I kind of didn't have a choice to just keep pressing.
I feel like you've just been cultivating such a good thing because you're very feminine, but you've been around so much masculinity that's like doesn't put up with BS. That's like very practical.
I do. I really do feel like I have both flows of energy, but I really do I like ebbing and flowing between my feminine energy and my masculine energy.
Do you know how to do that consciously, or is that a more natural thing?
It is.
Okay.
And I do think that, like, just right now, I feel like we're talking business. I'm definitely more in like a little bit of like this energy right now because I'm excited about you told me about your audience. I'm like, oh my God, they're entrepreneurs. Like I can get into that energy. And then last night at dinner, I was with I have a group of women that it's called the Millionaire Founders Club for CEO School. Okay. And we're like totally in our femme energy last night too. And we're, and I like that. I think it's important. I think as humans, just energy is really important, being your most authentic self. And I think when I've looked back at my journey and when I've failed or when it has been really hard, I haven't fully shown up as fully authentically Sunny. Like I haven't shown up as myself.
Is that what they call you, Sunny?
Yeah, that's my nickname.
I thought it would be.
Yeah, so Sunny's my nickname. And I just try to, I'm trying to like just be confident in like myself and who I am. And even with success and even with everything, like I still feel like I have a ton of fear. I still get, like I'm like some shows that I'll go on or, rooms that I'm in, I'm like, oh my God, like I still get that imposter feeling and I still have and those are good. Like those are things that we should feel like that, because that means that we're like reaching for bigger stuff.
Right.
So fear isn't a bad thing. It's just how we kind of control fear. I have a really good, a mentor once shared something about fear to me that like just really hit home for me, and I'll share it with your audience. Like fear is very, it's part of human tendency. If we didn't have fear, we'd be like eaten by the saber-toothed tiger, right? We wouldn't be afraid of anything. So some fear is good, but you don't want to let fear, like think about it like you're in the car and like you don't want to let fear drive you. So you want fear in the back seat.
Okay.
So you want fear in the back seat to be like, okay, great, but you're in the back, but you're the one in control and you're in the driver's seat. So it's okay for fear to be there. Just don't allow them in the front. Don't allow them in like the passenger seat and don't allow them in the driver's seat. It's okay that they're in the back seat. And it's like such like a like childish like Inside Out analogy or something. But like it's true. Like it's okay to have that fear. But I do all kinds of things. I meditate, so I definitely have and which is new. So like this has been in this last 2 years. So I didn't have. When you went
on your hiatus, or your
during my finding myself journey, I did. I felt like I'm kind of that person that's always going. It's hard to like be still, but I think I had a resistance to actually doing it. And
what was your resistance? Did you say like, oh, I'm ADD or stuff like that?
Yeah, like I'm distracted, or I needed guided meditation. I did a really cool program called Transcendental Meditation. Highly recommend. It was really awesome. And now I can sit and I could literally be with you right now and in like 3 minutes, like go in a state of like full on peace and quiet in my brain.
Have you noticed that change because now you're working again?
Yes, huge. I feel like this time around now in this also phase in my life where I just don't care as much as I did before.
I feel like that's one of the most beautiful things in life is, I heard someone talking about like what makes them successful, how do they handle all this stuff, and this person's like dealing with all these things, and he's like, you just can't care too much.
Yeah.
And I love that because you're not attached to the outcome and you're most authentic, because a lot of times when you care too much, you're rigid, you do things because you think that's what they're gonna like or what the status quo is. You're living off of like metaphor instead of like who you actually are. Yeah. And it blocks.
For sure. And I do think it's a nice place to be where, and it's not because of the success. I think it's because of like just a mindset shift of like, I feel like I gave too much power to everyone always.
Sure. You're at the first go around.
Yeah, first go around. And now I'm just
like, what do you mean, like an employee that you need to fire?
Yeah, or like in my head, like everything's black and white, or like just like constantly doubting myself, or like second guessing, or the perfectionism and the overthinking, and just so many different, so many scenarios.
Do you think meditation plus experience?
Experience, but I don't think meditation just like solves. Like I don't believe in just like here's manifestation and like it'll come, right? We have to put in the work, but I think it's with intention. And I do think that something I wish I did practice more truly is like better boundaries for myself. Like work is always going to be there. Like it is always there will never be a shortage of work. I'm going to pull up there's a million things to do. There's never going to be a shortage. And the more successful you're going to become, the more successful your company is going to become. It's going to be more complex. There's going to be more work. Like, it never gets easier. That was like the biggest myth ever, is that, when I have 10 employees, it gets easier. When I have 1,000 customers.
There's always problems. They just change.
No, it doesn't get easier, but you get better, right? You get better at solving it, but the complexities continue to grow. And so I will say that I now am at this place where, like, my peace is, and my family, and my boundaries and my time is like the most valuable thing to me. And so it is okay if it doesn't get done. If it is okay if somebody else can handle it. And so it'll always be there. And so learn to have those boundaries for yourself, and remove the complexity. So, like, if maybe, like, it doesn't have to be all the things. So even if your business is becoming complex, what are the things that you can just get rid of? As we don't have to do it all. And one of the challenges that I'm seeing right now, like, just a simple example, like, we're podcasters, right? So we could be on TikTok, we could be on Instagram, we can be on this, we could be on that. Like, that's a complex, now this becomes a whole entity of its own. If you just want to do it and be on just audio only, just do that.
Just get it out there.
Yeah, and just do that. And we have, like, because of, so much comparison, and because of, now we have access to see everyone else's business too, which is the worst, because now you're not staying in your lane, you're focused on what other people are doing. And so kind of going back to it is, like, just simplifying and just protecting your peace, and, like, just being good enough is okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll be surprised that when it's good enough, things just move faster, and, like, you're more at zen and you're more at peace, and you have that time back. And I'm in a happy place. And when I'm in a happy place, I can show up and do stuff like this.
Yeah.
Or I can make time for meeting new friends and going on shows.
Sure.
And now this is going to probably, I don't know what's going to happen with this, but I'm sure I'm going to, like, meet, like, it's just going to, the energy is going to give off. It's going to be a ripple effect. But it all stems from, like, your happiness at the end of it, and your energy
and authenticity.
And so whatever that works for you, whether it's meditation, whether it's journaling, whether it's taking walks. Like, I love to go for walks. I love nature. I love to go for walks. And so I hate Zoom, and, like, every meeting that I cannot be on a camera, I'm, like, calling you on your phone, like, picking up the phone, I'll go for a walk. You know, it's like, how can I just incorporate just this a little bit more simplicity into the day to day?
Yeah.
Those little things just really add up.
They do.
Yeah, they really add up.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much. I love this conversation. Where can we find you on social media?
You can find me everywhere. So you can find me, Suneera Madhani. You can find me on Instagram. You can find the show CEO School. If you go to my profile, I'll link out to Worth. Definitely go check out Worth. It's really exciting what we're building. And just all along, come say hi. I'd love to say hi to you. So you can find me on all the social channels. And I'm excited to have a conversation.
Amazing. Well, thank you for coming on. We'll tell you soon. Then say what?
This was so fun.
Awesome. Thank you.